Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Women Who Rock with Success, a digital media source for professional and entrepreneurial women. Did you know that we can be found on Google Play, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Sam's Broadcasting, AutoCast, and more? Women Who Rock with Success airs live each Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time, followed by our latest brand, Women Who Rock Investigates. We handpick professional women in many areas who can provide credible information in their field to build your business and lifestyle. To learn more about us, just visit our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com.
And good morning, and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success. And this is your host, Ms. Diane Winbush. We're doing a special podcast on today, and we hope that you can get as much as you can from our guest panel on this morning. So today we will be talking about advertising and marketing, and we have expert with us, Mr. Ralph Carrasco. So welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Good morning. Okay, you're welcome. So let's get into the podcast, and so we're going to be talking about your brand. And so first of all, just tell us a little bit about you and how you got started earlier on.
Yeah, no problem. Again, thank you for having me. It's a real honor. It's a treat. I served in the United States Navy for just shy of 11 years. And in 2010, I exited to have an impact in my daughter's lives, who were 5 and 12 at the time. And so from there, military, being divorced, it doesn't really work out. So I had to make a switch. Okay. And for me, it was important to be part of my daughter's lives because I was from a divorced family, and I wanted to make sure that I could be around. That took me to purchasing a franchise, and I never would have thought that I would have went into the industry that I did. It was in-home services. We were doing tile and grout, we were doing upholstery, and we were doing carpet cleaning. And so what I had to do is I had to figure out how to get people to pick me in, at the time, 2010, the economic crash from the housing market really took out a lot of people and their confidence in working with new businesses. So I had to figure out a way for people to reach out to me and choose my business over others. And that's how all of this really started.
Okay, great. And so why is it important for individuals? So let's put it like this. When it comes to franchise, it's a different. So let's rewind back. Explain to the audience the difference between franchise and sole proprietor. So take, for instance, or let's say corporations. So, of course, we know that McDonald's has franchises and McDonald's has corporations. So tell the audience the difference between the two.
Yeah, that's a great point. For me, my mind wasn't creative enough to come up with a concept at the time. So I figured I would just buy basically a franchise, which was a business in a box, where the logo's created, the content is there, majority of the infrastructure is already built. You're really buying the cutting of a learning curve, if you can say that, and you're also buying support. Whereas with a corporation and a business from the ground up, you have to think of everything. Starting with the logo and figuring out what your name's going to be, and making sure that your processes and procedures are in place and that you look official, and like all of this stuff that goes into creating, instead of just walking up and knocking on the door and holding, 2 business cards in your hand. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So that's why I chose a franchise first, to kind of help me learn business And from that point, my franchise was so new, it was OxyFresh carpet cleaning, that their main model was to push Valpak and Money Mailer at the time. And see, we're here east of San Francisco in the California Central Valley, and those options weren't available. So that's how I had to go towards the online push. And that's how I ended up working with Yelp right away. Because I called the franchise one day and I said, hey, how's it going? I need some help. This was December. I started in July. And I go, my calls just stopped. What happened? And they go, well, it's seasonal. And I go, okay. And they go, well, this is where you start working your commercial contracts and stuff. And I go, okay. That's a little bit harder, but let's work it out. And he goes, well, how's your Google listing? I said, it's dialed in. I got that done, because I was very technical in the Navy. So I came with a lot of very technical skills. And he goes, okay, well, what about Facebook? I said, Facebook's locked in, dialed in. I got it covered. And he goes, okay, well, what about Yelp? He goes, it's real big out there in California. And granted, this is, 2010. Yelp had just started in 2004, so they were only 6 years old at the time. And and I go, what's Yelp? And he goes, well, it's this really big platform out there in California. There's a guy booked out in Fremont, or who has the franchise in Fremont. He's booked out 2 weeks solid with no marketing budget, and he really just goes off of his reviews for people to pick him. And everything about who I am stopped, and I was like, I need to figure that out, because marketing is some of the most expensive stuff that you can do for your business, and if it's not done correctly, it can all go down the drain fast. And then people get frustrated when there's no real return on ad spend or return on investment.
Okay. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And so I guess we can kind of rewind back just for a few minutes because your portfolio is interesting. So so what pivoted you from the military to the advertising industry? Because I was like, what? Wait a minute. What is? Oh, how did he do this? And why would he be driven to go from serving the country? Which that is an awesome. My hat is off to you for doing that. But it's kind of, it's how you I guess the industry field pivoted from the military over to advertising. So talk to us a little bit about that, because what we do is we try to build and encourage corporate America women as to where they are and where they can be and where they can continue to soar for whatever it is that they have. So go ahead.
I completely understand. I had a really hard time with that as a military man, and I was working cruise missile support with admirals and captains of warships, and I went to knocking on doors where 90% of my clientele were mommies and females, right? That's who gets stuff clean. Men don't really want to get stuff clean. They're just like, oh, it's fine, whatever. But women, they love a good carpet cleaning. And, they want to make sure that their floor is clean. And so that's really what happened is that being a service individual, right, and being a real leader, what we do is no matter what, it's ingrained in us. Just like you being on this podcast helping people, your voice is really helping them overcome all the challenges that they're facing, questioning whether or not they can handle stuff, questioning whether or not they should do something. And for me, once I figured out what worked in my business, I then started helping all of the other franchisees in OxyFresh. And that in turn took me to being a part of the National Franchise Board, as well as speaking at the 2015 national franchise in front of like 300 plus locations.
Oh, wow.
And and so lifting a 50-pound machine every day was also taking a toll on my back and my body and my sanity. And so I'm serious. And so what happened is I pivoted because I was like, let me continue to be the smart guy because my insights were actually working. And they were helping franchisees. They were helping real people. And everybody has a frustration with Yelp. And not everybody, but a lot of business owners have a lot of frustration with Yelp. And I was like the one guy in the world who loved it. And that was the one guy in the world who made it work for him. Because what happened is from my tutelage of saying I need to figure that out, my franchise location quickly caught up to all of the other franchise locations in the area, as well as all the other corporations and people that built their business from the ground up. We caught up to them. We then passed them. And then we had 2 times the amount of reviews. And when my contract was up at the end of 7 years, we had 3 times the amount of reviews as our counterpart providers. And I realized that there is a huge correlation between reviews and revenue. And so that's what really drove me to drill in that much harder to say, how can I help these other business owners around the country and around the world with my knowledge and insights and be the smart guy again instead of just using my back? Because, that's the thing with franchises. You sign a 7-year contract. And so, just shy of 11 years with the U.S. Navy contract and then another 7 years with a private corporation to say that I'm going to be a franchisee. And I could not see myself doing another 7-year contract.
Okay. Great. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, we try to, as I stated, we try to have experts on to be able to talk to already established corporate America women and men, as well as startup entrepreneurs and mompreneurs as well. So that kind of helps them to be able to understand as to how you bridge from one to the other. And so that's great. And so now let's get into Yelp. Yelp is something that I partially understand or they partially understand, but we're going to get into it. I made sure I listed it on our Facebook page as well so the women can be able to get engaged as to the importance of it. Sometimes we don't get all of the dynamics out of what Yelp is because sometimes you'll get a sales agent to call the business and they'll just explain partial of it. And so that is where you come in at. We have a Yelp franchisee on the line today. And so you can be able to go ahead and explain that to them just a little bit about what it does, what it covers, how effective it could be able to allow a entrepreneur or corporate owner's business to be able to blossom in front of millions.
Perfect. I love, and this is what I love. Like right now, I've got chicken skin on my arms and it's up my neck because I do love speaking about this topic. It's my first concept was called revenue from reviews because I understood the correlation between reviews and how it affects people in the buying decision. And so that's the number one nugget that I deliver to everybody as a Yelp advertising partner. So I'm not a Yelp franchisee. I'm a Yelp certified advertising partner, and it's an invitation-only program where Yelp sends me through a very rigorous vetting process to make sure that we're adhering to their standards and their policies and their procedures. So, I have full access to Yelp's back-end data. So we're actually able to see how many searches are going on in somebody's area, in their prospective industry, based on the month, and we can even break that down to like a whole 12-month cycle for people. And so where a lot of agencies go after just the revenue of like spend, buy my ad spend, buy my ads, buy my ads. We all know the Yelp local sales people. They do it all day, every day. They're calling people and they're saying, hey, buy my ads, buy my ads. And like you said, a lot of people don't understand because it's very aggressive, and at times it's multiple times during the day, and that frustrates business owners. So what I've done, like just with my other previous business, I flipped everything on its head and I said, okay, what is the pain points for the business owner, and why are they not understanding how powerful this platform is? Because for a little bit of context, and you may or may not know this, are you an Android or are you an Apple user?
Apple.
Okay. So were you aware that every time you ask Siri or Apple Maps for help or information, that's all Yelp data?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So also with Amazon Alexa, the voice data, as well as Windows Cortana, the other AI for Windows, as well as Bing, Yahoo, MapQuest, and a lot of other directories, they all get their local data from Yelp because it is so stringent on how the review policy is, and it's locked down and so trusted by all of these companies. So like people, when they say, hey, especially with everybody home right now, and they say, hey, Alexa, find me, whether it's find me an Italian restaurant open or find me some Chinese food that might be open, find me a plumber that's open, well, that's going to be all Yelp data. And so what happens is it goes off of your profile. And here's the magic within all of it, is that Yelp is a decision-making tool, first and foremost, for people. Where people say it's not effective, many people, just like an Amazon listing, will sometimes look at 4 to 5 Yelp listings to make the best decision possible. Okay. And from that point, here's another crazy statistic, is only 5% of the people that use Yelp actually leave reviews. And that's data from Yelp Direct. And so from that point, we have 5% of the people swaying the decision of the other 95%.
Okay.
And so that's why the profile has to be strong, and that's why the profile has to be powerful. And exactly the reason why I wanted to be on your show was, and this is just, I ended up getting my degree in human resource development while I was in the Navy, because the high-tech guys sometimes have a problem communicating effectively, and they just kind of want to hoard information. Have you ever walked up to like an IT or a computer guy and you're like, hey, how'd you do that? And they're kind of mysterious with their response.
Sure.
Right? They don't always tell you like the easy way to do it. They just kind of want to look like the superstar. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Yeah. And so for me as the computer guy, I wanted to break down that wall, and that's why I enjoy showing people how to create a profile that's appealing to people. Because that's really what it is. Just like when somebody comes up to the house, and this is where I really learned it, rubber to the road, there's so many other tile and grout, upholstery, and carpet cleaners on the road. I'm sure that you've seen some of those vehicles where you're like, ooh, I would not want that man in my house. Candidly, right? You might say it to yourself, but you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want you in my house. I don't know if I want you around my kids. I don't know if you're going to be okay with my animals and my pets in my house. Do I have to hide my jewelry? Are you going to make inappropriate comments to me, especially as a female? Like, there's so many questions going in the mind of a female when they're having somebody at home or at their home or residence or even professionally at their business, and they might be in a situation where they have to interact with somebody. And if there's a large, like an odor of like cigarette smoke, or they just don't smell pleasant, they don't got to smell like a bunch of cologne, but, you want someone where the odor is not overpowering, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah, so
okay.
That's the number one thing. It's a decision-making tool. And so what folks don't really realize is that there's a lot of options within Yelp to control the flow of your photos, to write descriptions inside of Yelp, so then that way people understand what the flow looks like, right? Everybody buys online now, especially now more than ever with COVID-19. And so people are reading. Yeah, they are. They're reading. They're making their best decision possible. And from what I've noticed is that people's fight or flight is in hyper mode right now. We don't know which way the government's going to go. We don't know which way our medical system's going to go. We don't know which way our liberty of choice is going to be forced on us, whether or not we're going to be forced with a vaccination. So there's a lot of people, as well as the economic impact of not being able to work and having limited resources for a lot of people. And that's why I appreciate you having me on the show, because this information needs to get out, especially for business owners. And so,
absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and finish.
So the thing with Yelp is that people go to it when they're using Amazon Alexa, and they're using Apple Siri and Apple Maps, and even just doing a search on their Apple phone. They want to make sure that they're picking the best company to come to their house that's going to treat them fairly. And here's the thing about reviews, and I'm going to challenge you. More times than not, people look at reviews to see how they're going to be treated after the situation.
Wow.
So have you ever read some reviews when you're considering a service or a restaurant or to go somewhere with a group of friends, and you think something looks fantastic, and then you start seeing, maybe some of the negative reviews, and you see how the business owner kind of goes after that person, right? And it just like berates them back, and you're just like, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to deal with it like that.
Yes.
And exactly. And so what I tell my clients is that the review response is not for the individual who wrote the review, because a lot of times they just get on there and then they leave. They don't come back. And just like I said, if only 5% of the people that are using it are swaying the opinion, that's why it's the business owner's responsibility to get on there and respond to each and every review, whether it's positive or negative, to just show face that, hey, I'm here, we're going to take care of you, and we want you to be in our business. We want you to work with us. We love the opportunity. Do you see how that attracts people more instead of kind of pushes them away?
Absolutely, which leads me to the next question, and partial of it you have already answered, but how important is it for the business owner to go in and try to rectify it versus the business owner? This is a two-part question now, maybe three-part, but how important is it for them to go in and to rectify the issue with the customer that may have had a bad review? And let's even go a little further and ask in regards to the BBB, okay, because we know that we can be able to go there and we can, because it seems like Yelp is just running right out of the roof. Everybody goes to Yelp. You can find any review that you want. So share with the audience the difference between the going to file a review on the Better Business Bureau versus Yelp versus Google, because I know Google has a lot, but I think Yelp is just way up there when it comes to finding reviews, restaurants, the perfect nail shop, or where you want to get the best makeup or what have you. They have the best reviews, and it's kind of astonishing as to how the percentage of their rates are higher. So if you would just touch on those three basics for us.
Yeah, no problem. I love this topic.
Okay.
So for me, I established all of this by honestly watching Amazon, because if you look at Amazon's structure and Yelp's structure, it's very similar in the way that it does. So for you, do you ever shop on Amazon?
Every day.
Okay. So I imagine you're a Prime member, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So do you ever really buy off of Prime if there's a Prime option?
Every day.
Okay. Okay. So that's my point, and I'm sure that you picked the one or the item with the highest star count and the most reviews, I imagine.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, perfect. Have you ever gone to a listing and you're very excited about wanting to work with, maybe purchase from that seller, and then you tap on the profile, and the first thing that comes up is the pictures, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, have you ever tapped on a picture to want to see closer image of it and it just goes pixelated, or you can't even really make it out?
Not for sure. Not often.
Okay, so that's what I've discovered is that people shop and buy based off of reviews, and they want to make sure that when they go to a profile that it looks as nice as possible with the pictures as high quality as possible. And because the human mind processes images 60,000 times faster than text. So for between Yelp and the BBB and Google My Business, the thing is that the BBB has been around for a very long time. They don't really offer an option for people to really engage. It's a hop on, describe the business, leave them a star rating, write some information, and then hop off. Can you agree with that, or have you noticed something different?
That's absolutely.
Okay, and so with Yelp, what they've done is it's all community driven. And so within Yelp, because it is a community, you have a section for question and answers. You have a section for someone to create their own Yelp profile where they can connect with friends and share their experiences. They're able to create collections for certain areas. Let's say you're going out on a trip somewhere, and again, this is for the person that uses Yelp a lot, and maybe you enjoyed, 4 or 5 places, and you might want to share them or talk about them with your friends when you're on your trip, right?
Okay.
So on Yelp, what you're able to do is you're actually able to build a little collection and then share that out to the world to help other people who are in the decision-making process to want to maybe step into that business. And so that's how Yelp has become so powerful, is that it's all community-driven with moderators who maintain third-party neutrality through all of it. Because Yelp's number one focus is to deliver the best consumer experience possible, right? And so with the reviews, people get frustrated because they don't understand, how someone can just hop on and leave them a negative review and then just hop off, and then, like I said, they're frustrated with it. But with Google My Business, it's similar to the way that the BBB is, or the Better Business Bureau, is that people literally get on, leave their review, and then get off, and then kind of go from there. And yes, it's part of the directory, and it helps and it grows, but and you can leave images on Google My Business, but it's not as impactful as the community on Yelp is, and the way that people use it. Mm-hmm. The other component is that with Yelp and with regards to reviews, and even the Better Business Bureau, is you can ask people to write reviews for you on Better Business Bureau as well as Google My Business. So with Google My Business, they actually give you a link that you can create that you can then send out to everybody in the world, and from that point, ask them to write a review for you on Google. Because the only requirement is that somebody has an @gmail.com email address. And so those of us that are Android users like myself, and I know you're an Apple user, is that a little bit of feud? I mean, I won't drink that. Okay. Nope, I'm not going to drink that Kool-Aid, that Apple Kool-Aid. No, thank you. The component is that with Google, there's companies out there that allow you to do what's called review gating, where they just send out thousands of emails, and from that point asking people to write reviews. And if the review response comes back as like a 3-star or below, well, they'll just send that back to the business and say, hey, you should fix this. But if it's a 4 or a 5-star rating, they let that pass through, and then that inflates people's numbers to where they look like they're a 4 or 5-star business. But that's because you don't really see the 3-star because, well, they've kind of filtered those off to the side so you don't see it. You see where I'm at? Yep. Where like with Yelp, they don't allow that to happen. They don't allow you to solicit reviews. They want it to be organic. And that's why people trust Yelp. That's why people, like you said, when you're trying to find a good nail shop and you're out of there, you're like, I need to find me somebody new because this individual, she just talks too much or he just talks too much, and I don't want to hear this. I just want to go in and get my nails done. I want to look fabulous in my own head, and I want to keep it rolling, right?
Correct.
And so that's what happens, and that's why people have better experiences. And that's why when you find like a 4 or a 5-star business, you're more apt to trust it a little bit more because you understand that the community is actually helping you and saying, hey, come here, or hey, go there. But then that's also the problem, as to what I said earlier, that only 5% of the people are writing reviews. So for everybody out there, the number one thing that can help the business community is by writing more authentic reviews if you do have a business that you love and that you do patron. So if there is a local bakery that you love, I'm telling everybody that they should check in. Because what happens when you check in on Yelp, 24 to 48 hours later, Yelp says, hey, you were just at XYZ Bakery, right? Would you like to help this business owner grow and write a review? They actually send out that push notification. Yelp's stance is that if they're the first party asking for the review for the business, the business isn't doing it. The actual Yelp platform does this. It's not like Google where you can just send out mass amounts of emails to say, hey, will you do this? Because Yelp has AI in place or artificial intelligence in place to see whether or not someone actually went to the business, they engaged with the business, they looked at the website, maybe they read the specialty section. Their computer system is seeing how somebody engages with the profile to see if they actually use the business. So when the AI sees that and then you check in on the business, well, then it says that you are an authentic Yelp user. You found this business through Yelp, and when you check in, it sends you that push notification that says, would you like to write a review? So I did a video about that on my YouTube channel, how to get reviews on Yelp in 2020, and it breaks it down a little bit more for service companies as well as for restaurants restaurants should be implementing this right now. If someone's coming to pick up food or get food delivered, people should be having people check in, so then that way their reviews will be authentic, especially in this time when we're all on lockdown. Did that answer everything?
I think that it did. So with that being said, it did. It really did. So, and that's what we want. We want something that is descriptive for the audience so they can pick it up just like you're eating a slice of bacon off your plate. So in regards to the reviews, we're going to kind of switch over. We just got probably under 10 minutes left, but I wanted to be able to hit on this real quick. I don't know if this is in the Yelp area. So take, for instance, this is the scenario. Take, for instance, a new business comes in town. And a consumer wants to learn more about it. So take, for instance, I think we have like a Hobby Lobby that's coming in. It's not complete or anything, but I think they have the electricity and all of that turned on and everything. So how effective can a consumer get the rating of that Hobby Lobby that is coming in? Do they go on to the Yelp site? Because even what you said about the BBB reviews, I totally agree with you. They are a neutral arbitration. They will take the information and they may send you an email to let you know that they have it or received it, but it's very little communication with them. And so that is something that I just learned today myself, and hopefully the listeners caught on to it, is that Yelp allows the consumer or the individual to be able to, get in a community, be able to create a full profile, be able to go in there and chat about their experiences. I think that is awesome, because that's going to allow me to get off of here, and hopefully the audience will get off and go straight to Yelp. And so how effective are the reviews for a consumer when a new business is coming in to launch in that area and location?
Yeah, great question. So, like I said, for me, I think that reviews are huge. For multi-location businesses like a Hobby Lobby, which I recommend you download that app. We have a Hobby Lobby in my town. You can use their coupons for 50% off right at the check stand. They'll even tell you, like, hey, download our app. If you get me that coupon, I can zap it real fast and we'll get you a discount. Watch out, they're closed on Sundays. But they are a fantastic organization. I love my Hobby Lobbies because they always have something on sale, which is great. Keeps you coming in. So congratulations on that coming into town. So with regards to a new business, if there is a new business, a lot of times on Yelp what happens is they'll send out a push notification saying, hey, there's this hot and new restaurant or there's this new business in town. You should check it out. So there's actually push notifications that go out for new businesses as well. So for, like I said, multi-location businesses or even just building the brand itself, that's why I always mentioned foundation and structure. Because where people just want to throw advertising at you, right? Have you ever got home and you open your mailbox and it's just full of that like Wednesday circular where it's just all the newspapers of everything at the grocery store, maybe some pizza coupon, right? And so as a woman who helps business owners and entrepreneurs, I'm not going to say that you do this. I'm just going to describe what I do or how I came to this realization. Is I would grab my mail, I would pull it out, I would put it vertically, and I would shake out all my envelopes, and I would throw the rest of the stuff away. That's how I learned how I know that print marketing didn't work for me, because I didn't really enjoy it. So I don't know how many other people throw their stuff away too, because that's just real talk if we're going to be real about it.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, oh yes.
That's it. I'm not taking away from them. There's people that love the coupons, but, like, it's not me, so I just need my stuff. Like, I want what I want. And that's why people turn to the Internet, is that we have savvy internet users now, and they want to make sure that they go to places where the logo looks nice, right? That the menus look nice, that people's shirts are embroidered, and maybe their ball caps have embroidery on it, and that when you engage with them, they look professional. One of the super advantages that I had was that being a military guy, well, 80% of success in the military is making sure that the uni is crisp and it looks beautiful, right?
Sure.
Like 80% of the success in the military is making sure that the uniform is crisp, it's dialed in, you look sharp, right? Like, have you ever seen a sloppy military person and then like an individual who's like just got it spot on? Have you ever noticed that type of person? And I'm sure that you're probably drawn to that individual who looks a little bit sharper or like they have their stuff together, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Like it's all about image. And so that's the number one key component for all new businesses growing and thriving and coming up, is that it is crucial that you take a major focus on your online image and your online reputation just as much as you would when you start a new business and you're all fired up and you have it took you 4 months to get your logo concept designed, and you probably paid way too much for it. But then that helps you build your website. Then that helps you buy your menus or your service program. And then it helps you get your shirts embroidered to have your uniforms look nice. So the logo is the foundation of everything to start your business. But then people disregard it with their online reputation, and they don't put their logo front and center. Because I'm going to ask you like this. Okay, I think, are we done?
We're just about running out of time. We have about 2 minutes left, but before you go, we certainly want you to be able to let the audience know how to find you, how they can follow you if you have social media platforms that you would like for them to be able to, and any books that you would like to share or master classes that you have coming up. We would love for you to do that right now if you have anything to share with them. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. People can find me at Carrasco Consulting, Become the Obvious Choice. We actually do have a Yelp COVID-19 action plan, which spells out 7 different free resources that are on Yelp that helps people in the decision-making process. So once they get those dialed in, they'll have a very powerful profile to show that they're open, to be able to engage with people and to be indexed properly. As well as I go over what the Yelp advertising features are and how they can be effective for somebody's business. And again, everyone can find me at ralphcarrasco.com, as well as Instagram, Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being our guest. Listeners, for all upcoming events, you can go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. Ralph, thank you so much for being our guest and sharing all of that tons of information with us about Yelp Reviews. Have a great day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.